Hi everyone, this is Paris Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop, and I'm with Carolin Love, life coach.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about different topics. I wanted to also talk about my new book, and this is my first book. It's called Lenono Fortune Telling. That one was written last year, and this year I have a new book called Trinity Fortune Telling Cards. So it's a card system that I created and invented, and I talk about how to read it, and I also talk about how it came about. Now this book, this card system actually came about because of difficult clients. So what was happening was when I was doing readings, when I was doing tarot, this is going back to year 2000 and maybe two. I mainly only did tarot card readings, and what was happening was I was getting clients that already knew tarot. A lot of people generally knew tarot, right? It's a common knowledge now, it's on the internet, people can look up meanings of the cards. And what was happening was people were coming to the reading, but they were being know-it-all type clients.
Where people going to the doctor and they've Googled everything, so they
and
are
the doctor might say, and they'll argue with the doctor.
No, you need this. I need this medicine.
That's correct. That's exactly right. Exactly right. So what was happening? I was getting clients where I'd pull out a tarot card, and I would say, oh, you need rest and recuperation, and they'd say, oh no, but that also means blah blah blah, and it also means blah blah blah, and it also means this and all this. So what was happening was the clients, it was only a few, it wasn't a majority, but it was enough for me to think, right, I need to solve this. So what was happening was they were called over-reading, or I call them the backseat readers as well, where you tell them what you see, but then they give you their version of what they think you should be seeing. So then I thought I needed to create a deck of cards that was unique, so then nobody knew the meanings except me. So I came up with these cards, and at the time I didn't have a name for them, but I ended up calling them Trinity cards. So they're different symbols, and then what was happening was every time I got a know-it-all client or a backseat reader client, I would put the tarot cards away and use these, so they weren't able to read.
Because your readings, it's a lot about you picking up things or intuition. So the cards is just a tool. And you can't say, oh, this card is this.
Like a robot.
They're different meaning every time, right? So
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So if I'm a difficult client.
Well, if I did a reading for you, and just for example,
what does a boy think about me?
Yeah, if I did that, and just say I pulled out a card for you, just say I got the Emperor, and I was explaining what this means, and then you came in and told me what you think it means, then it kind of discredits what I just said, right? So what I would do instead...
So, the boy, what does he think about me? And, oh, there's the Emperor, oh my God, he loves me. You can see, because I wanted that, right?
Exactly. I would say, well, the Emperor could be strong. I'd need more cards to see if he loves you, but it could also be a man who wants to do things his own way. And then you might argue with that if you were a backseat.
Exactly, because in my book.
You read
and then
somewhere.
If it was upside down or something
else. So then I'd be like, okay, Carolyn, I'll put those away for a moment. Then I'd pull out the Trinity cards instead.
Trinity cards.
And I would say, all right, let's do that again, and I'm just going to take out, so some of the cards have meanings. They have meanings. That's what I'm taking out. So the deck actually has the instructions in the deck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
you're supposed to take them out.
Yeah. So when you buy the deck, they come with the little meaning instructions, and then you've got the actual cards, right? So what I would do with a client that was a backseat client is I would do the same thing about how does this man feel about you, and then we would take out, say, let's start with two. Ooh,
what's that?
Love. Okay, love. So
love
you got the hearts. The heart indicates that he's definitely interested in you, definitely attracted to you. And you've also got the violet card. The violet flowers means things will grow slowly. Violets are plants that are very delicate and they need the right elements. They need the right soil, they need the right amount of sunlight, they need the right amount of water. If one of those elements is not right, they wither. So this means that this man may be very attracted to you, he may have good feelings for you, he may even love you, and there needs to be nurturing and the right balance between you and him. So that's how I would read that. Then we would, continue onward. But basically, the violet cards represents something that needs to be nurtured like a plant.
Yeah.
If you water the plant properly and give it the right elements, it will thrive, right? And the same as with love in your case with this situation.
They're quite similar. They're simple, these cards.
They're very simple.
Yeah, so anyone can understand them.
Yeah. They're very good for beginners too.
Yeah.
And the good thing about them is, see, if you were a client that knew tarot, that you wouldn't be able to argue with me about that.
No, exactly,
you'd be
but
like,
the
okay,
Emperor,
the Emperor. You'd be like, I'm going to Google that. I'm going to read my book about that. So that's the reason I created Trinity, because it was a system that. And the funny thing was with this system, and I talk about it in the book, is I made it for myself only. I only made one deck for myself. And what happened was,
because you were a backseat reader, or
I was trying to dodge around backseat readers because I was like, I've got to come up with a weapon, right?
Yeah.
I can be a backseat reader too. But however, when I've had readings from other readers, I give them respect because I know what it's like. So when I go to somebody else, I let them tell me what they see, and I don't interject and interrupt and. I'll let them give me their version because that's their version. That's their.
And it's not a weapon; it's a tool for you to help people.
That's right.
Because the backseat readers, they don't really want help from you.
No, they want to dominate actually, and you're just their puppet.
Exactly, they're not open.
No,
and you want them to be open.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know whether this is. This is my experience, put it that way. Being a male, I talk about it in the book too. Being a male, and I've been in this industry for 30 years, so when I started, I was very young. Older women used to discredit me a lot because he's young and he's a male. What does he know, right? And that's probably true in some ways. But I used to feel sidelined a lot by women. Because see, it's almost reverse sexism in this industry. Because this industry, fortune telling, most readers are women, most clients are women. So I'm a bit of an anomaly in this industry. I was a young male, and male. So I was like this odd.
How did you get into this? As a young male?
I got into it because my teacher encouraged me to read. Like I studied tarot because I liked it and I was interested in it. But I didn't ever think I would be able to read it. I just wanted to know what the symbols meant because I grew up. I was studying art at university, and I wanted to learn symbols and signs and symbols in artworks. So that was my motivation.
Because you create this,
and
yourself.
Then I created my own.
So how do you paint them?
Different. These ones are photoshopped. These ones are drawn. These ones are photoshopped as well. So just different styles. I have different styles.
So how does this book I'm gonna read this.
Okay.
Will it be a success? Oh,
so
I got some kind of horse.
You always get Pegasus.
I get Pegasus. Oh, that's Pegasus, yeah.
Yeah. You got that 3 times, on the videos.
Because it's a happy friendship card. And Pegasus can face
which way he's
either
facing.
direction.
Yeah.
So you're bringing a light energy to people with this book or these cards. Like you're bringing something that people get wings. Because that's what happened. You get hope from the readings.
And you overcome, you fly above problems.
And you are suddenly liberated to then create your own future, as I'm teaching as a coach, of course. So
that's
this is boom.
That's the point. It's to get the client out of their own way. See, if you come to a reading full of tarot, you're in your own way. So this deck was like my way of getting them out of the way and then getting in there. But what I was saying was, what happened was I created the first deck for myself, and I was happy because I had my own little deck. But then one of my best friends saw the deck, and he was a tarot reader as well, and he said, I really love them, and can I make him one? And I was surprised because I thought it was just my language, my deck for me. And he was like, can you please make me a deck? And so eventually I made him one. And then what happened was he went onto Facebook and he did some readings for people with that deck, and other people wanted to buy it. So then he said, look, 4 of his friends wanted a deck as well, which was not planned. And so then I thought, well, I don't want to sell them at the deck without doing the lesson. So I said to him, I will sell them the deck, but only if they do a lesson with me so I can show them how to use it. And that's what ended up happening was we created a little class. It was my first 5 students with this deck. By then I'd already been teaching tarot, but then I created a little class with these 5 students. And then that's how the idea of like selling it to other people came about. It was like, oh, people actually like this. This is not just for me. It's actually for the world.
I love them because they are so simple, and it's bringing out our natural intuition. We all are psychic. I mean, we have an ability to see things if we dare to look at it.
That's right.
And tarot is so complicated. It could be so much up in your brain. You know, the prefrontal cortex is like, it's working. But this is more the emotional part of the brain, the heart.
That's right.
So you're reading yourself and your feelings and your...
That's right. See, even if you don't know, even if you haven't read the book or the symbols, like if you see the card, you can sort of figure out what it's saying. You know, it's a horse, there's a blue background, the horse is flying, it's got wings. So already that's it, showing a sense of freedom, liberation, maybe travel. So,
and it's different for different people, right? Based on what I deep inside know.
Yeah, and it could be cultural too. It could be like in your culture that could represent, you know, liberation. In my culture could represent, you know, freedom or something. So the cards are simple. And that's another thing that I often say to my students, like when I meet a person that wants to learn card reading, I'll say, is your heart set on tarot? Because if it's not, I would recommend you learn these first. And then later on, you can learn the tarot once you've mastered these. And even Lenono's, my first book is similar. Like it's a simple fortune telling book. And I made that one for people that maybe don't want to learn the tarot. Tarot is very big. It's a big system, whereas these 2 systems are much more bite-sized, you know.
But, you know, tarot has 4 or 5 different parts, the pentacles and swords and stuff. How are these structured?
This deck has 10 symbols.
10 symbols.
And so there's 10 symbols to learn.
Only 10?
Only 10, but they're tripled. So there's 3 crowns, there's 3 Pegasus.
But not all of them are tripled.
There's only one single card, and that's the scissors. The scissors means to cut, to finish. So everything's in triplicate. That's why it's called Trinity, triplicate. And then the last card...
Why is that?
It's just something that I created to make it easy. So instead of having to learn 28 different symbols, there's 10 that are just tripled.
And if you take 2 of them,
it's stronger.
Depends.
Like for example, if you pulled out Pegasus and then you pulled out another Pegasus, it's emphasizing Pegasus energy. Or if there's 2 hearts, if you pull out 2 hearts, it's showing there's a lot of love there and the love is reciprocated. Or if there's some negative cards, like the mermen are negative, slippery mermen, right? And the Medusa is also negative.
Of course.
So the triplicate idea is that so the client or student doesn't have to learn all these hundreds of symbols.
And it's different if you talk about career or love or friendship or health.
They talk about, these cards can handle any question, just like tarot. They can be used for career questions, they can be used for love questions, travel, friendship, study.
It's good thing to have on a travel.
With
you travel with your friend, you're going out to Blue Mountains.
Yeah,
then
take
you
them with
bring
you.
this on
It's a good way to meet people too.
Yeah.
Like if you're at a cafe and reading cards, people are like,
oh, they will come.
I've literally had that happen.
Yeah.
I've literally had people come up to me and say, "Are you reading cards?" I'm like, "Yeah, here's my business
for
card."
a beer, I do that.
Yeah. Like one time I was at the airport actually, and we were waiting in the the waiting section, and I was playing with the cards with my friend, doing some readings, and then all these people came up to me and said, "Are you doing tarot cards?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they were like, we was doing tarot readings.
People are so curious.
And then when we ran out of time, I gave him my business card. I said, "I can do online readings if you want to do a video reading."
Why do you think people are so curious about fortune telling? Like,
fortune
is it
telling,
something that we need?
I think we kind of do as humans, because human beings, the way our brains are wired is that we're always looking for signs and symbols in nature, and why did we have a bad storm, and why did the crop fail, and why did the river dry up. So I think ancient people, humanity's always wondered what's going to happen. We're not like other animals.
But that's reality. I mean, the storms and stuff. The cards is.
But humans want to figure out things. See, animals like a cat or a dog. If a storm happens, it happens, and they get on with it, and they don't think. Right? They might be scared of it, but they don't think, "Oh my God, was that God being angry at me?" But humans do. We're the only animal that has like the imagination to look for signs and symbols. So divination has been with humanity from the very, very beginning, because farmers wanted to know if their crop was going to fail. So if a star looked happy or bright, it was good. If it looked foggy, it was bad. So this has happened since cavemen times,
But isn't that based on if the star looks happy, it's because of the weather being in a certain way, and that's reality. This is just...
It is, but humans add meaning to it, and that's where...
That's religion.
Yeah, there's a religious, it's belief, it's... So human beings have been doing that because that's how we're wired, or if, for example, cavemen, maybe there wasn't many wildebeests, they might think, oh, they've done something bad, that's why the gods or the earth isn't giving them food, or...
And that's sort of an escape as well. I think a lot of people come to fortune tellers because life is so tough.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's so much responsibilities and things to think about, and we have to be these grown-up people who take care of our money, and take care of kids and house, and all the decisions we have to make, and it's tough.
It is. You know what? One of my friends once said to me, "Oh, we're going into a recession. Are you worried about your business, Paris? Because people are not going to have money to..." And I said, "No, actually, it's opposite. When we go into a recession, what do people do? They worry. So
you give hope.
So what do? They go to a fortune teller." So I said to her, "Actually, it works in reverse in my industry. When people are worried about their jobs or their family, they seek out someone like me because they want reassurance. So, my job is one of those ones that's the opposite to most jobs. Most people will cut down on expenses or entertainment. But in my job, when people are feeling down, they do go to someone that does fortune telling. Now, the problem with my industry is there are a lot of charlatans. So there's a lot of people that take advantage of people who are down, which is very sad to me. It makes me very sad to know that, but I can't control that, But I do hear stories, and I've even experienced it myself, where people take advantage of others when they're feeling lost or down, or they're having a bad time in their relationship, and they go to someone and that person takes it,
And they don't want to take charge of their own lives and
do
everything that I teach. They just want to get help somewhere, magic solution, like please send a unicorn and help me, and a god should help me, instead of helping themselves.
Exactly.
So
a lot of what I do is trying to get them to be responsible for them, but that's my style. But there are other fortune tellers that will say, "Oh, well, if you give me a couple of $100 more, I'll do a magic, ring a magic bell or some crazy thing, and that person will pay."
but you don't say on the 24th you're gonna meet a tall blonde man, or you're not that specific?
No, I would say more like if I could see if I could see in the cards or in the astrology that they're going to meet someone new, say, I would say, look, there's a male. He may be this type of character. He might be like an independent man or a traveler, or he may. Sometimes I can give descriptions of him. Like I might say he might be foreign, or he might have darker skin than you, or he's from a more.
How do you know that?
I know that from the
From
planets.
the cards.
The cards and the planets, you can tell. Yeah, you can. Like for example, if someone had Jupiter strong in their planets, Jupiter often means a foreign man, a man who's very established, because Jupiter's the king. Whereas if they have a Mars type man, Mars is more hot-blooded, hot and short-lived, fun, maybe sexy, but not usually going to be a husband. So I might say to them, oh, you're going to meet someone who's more like a fun player guy, or even in tarot, it could be a knight. They might get a knight, not a king. Knight would be a young man on a horse.
Boys are
the bad fun boys. There's bad and fun in the knights. But if they get a king, it could be more someone serious that wants to create a kingdom with them. But if they're a queen and they're attracting a knight, that's more like fun for a knight.
You once told me not to lend money to a friend.
Oh, did I?
And first time we met.
Oh, right.
And I forgot about that, and I lent a lot of money to a
no.
friend and I never got back. So I listened to him every time after that.
No.
But in tarot, you do different, like you put the cards like this, spreads.
Different spreads.
Is it the same with your?
Yeah. In the book, it actually talks about all the different spreads. These cards have their own spreads as well. They're different from tarot spreads. Let me see if I can find one. Here's one here. It's the 5-card spread.
Yeah, that's easy, right?
Yeah, it's very easy.
And that's me, him,
middle,
relationship, what's going to happen.
Future and outcome. That's correct. Very good. So you've learned it already. Very good.
I'm good.
Very fast learner. Very good. And then there's the bigger spread, the 10-card spread, which is more complicated. And then there is the spirit spread in this one. This one shows you how to connect with people who have passed on. And it's right at the back of the book, where it shows you how to connect with spirits too, or maybe family that have passed on.
Do you connect with spirits?
Yes, you can do that. I don't like to do that with clients that are just for fun. Like if they're just like, can you please, connect me with my spirit? I'm like, is there a serious question, or are you just playing? And sometimes they're like, oh, I just want to have fun. I'm like, no, I won't do that. But if they come with maybe something they want to know from a family member that's passed, I can do that.
So it doesn't happen naturally? Like,
I don't encourage
suddenly
it.
Someone here.
Look, sometimes it could happen. Yeah, sometimes it could. Yeah, sometimes I might be like, I'm feeling like this is more of a spirit. But often in a commercial setting like I do in a shop, often I don't encourage that unless the client needs it. But sometimes I have had young guys, 22-year-old, they want to know when they're going to die, which I never talk about. And they want to know if they've got a spirit. I'm like, well, are you just playing?
Why do they want to know that?
Because they've probably seen movies. They've probably seen Hollywood movies, and that's what they think a fortune telling's about.
Oh, okay.
They probably think it's about you're going to die and there's a zombie that's going to come and get you.
Yeah. So, surprise, people are going to die.
Yeah. So often I'll be like, well, what spirit are you interested in connecting with? And they'll be like, oh, I just want to know if they're no, that's not, I don't feel that serious. But if they come back, if they maybe they've lost somebody and they want to know something about that person, I can tap into that. Yeah.
I guess it's knowing what you really look for and what you're after, what you're searching for. It's the toughest thing.
Yeah.
To actually figure out what you dream about.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and most people don't even think about that.
They dream about something their parents think they should dream about, or the society.
Yeah. And I had to learn that too myself, because I was brainwashed like all of us, and then I started to ask questions and discover things for myself. And do I really want that, or is that what society tells me what I should do?
Did you use your cards?
I used my cards along the way, and the more I learned the cards, the more they became like a tool, kind of like a tool of guidance, but Yeah, I think when I first began getting interested in fortune telling, I was fascinated by it all, and I wondered if it was true. And but once I started doing it myself and learning, then now I ask the cards, occasionally if I should do something or if I should pursue something or not. Or if I need advice about something,
your new book.
I could ask about my new book. What do I need to do to, get it out there more? Or,
Is that your goal, to get it out, to sell a lot of books, or what's the goal?
It's funny. My goal actually is to document what I've learned. Really, I mean, if they sell, that's good. I love it when other people love what I do. But the funny thing is, I'm not driven by selling it. I'm not driven by that. I'm driven by, I'd love it if I got 100 orders, sure. But it's more like my experience that I've had, and it's like something I want to share. And I want to make a library. Like, I'm working on other books already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got like 3 others in the pipeline already. And I'd love to have like a whole, library on the shelf. So it's like people can, I want to do that today. I feel like doing that one today. I feel like doing that one, And for me as well, to pass on the knowledge, because I'm not going to be here forever. And I've got all of these experiences. I need to document them, And I thought, and this is the time that I'm doing that. I'm documenting everything. I am literally working on 4 different books at the same time.
Great.
And the other thing about divination, fortune telling is, like in my case, it's like the guides or the cards are talking, like they want to be written now.
Yeah.
So when I wake up in the morning, I've got books in my head that I need to write.
That's cool.
See, before it was cards, I would design cards.
Yeah.
So every morning I wake up with a new deck of cards sitting on my head that I have to create. Yeah. And now it's books. And in the nighttime, like I go to bed, in the morning I've got the solution for the book when I wake up.
Yeah, research say that when we sleep, we solve issues.
And when I wake up, I'm like, oh, that's how you should write it, or that's how you should put that, or take that out, put that there.
So whenever you have something you wonder about, ask the question and then fall asleep.
Yeah. And the other
really
thing
awesome.
the other thing I do with book writing as well is, if I get a little bit stuck, I just leave it. And then later it'll work itself out. It's the
same with the issue about men.
Yeah.
You're wondering, is he into me or not? Just leave it.
Just leave it, and it'll work itself out.
Instead of stressing and worrying.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true.
I feel like when we should live when we live, be alive when we're alive. And I truly feel like after 50 now, I feel also like giving back.
Yeah, true.
I want to give. I don't have children, but I want to give
back.
So my book coming out in January is How to Love Life.
Yeah,
and
beautiful.
I just want to give tools for people on how to create a fantastic life to themselves, for themselves.
Perfect.
Because we can. We have we have the ability. We have the tools. And then you can say what you think will happen, but you make things happen as well.
That's
so
right.
it's not going to come like from the sky.
That's right.
So
interesting.
Yeah. Good.
All right. Well, let's stop the video there, and we'll do another one. Okay.